Hello and welcome to the first edition, the first ever episode of Football by the Numbers. My name is John, and joined with me are my two good friends, Andrew and Will. Andrew, how are you today?
Good. How are you guys doing?
Doing well, man. Doing well. Will, how about you? How are you doing, man?
And I'm doing good now that MLS is coming back. We've got CONCUSSION Champions League starting tonight. Two good results by Portland drawing 2-2, and then we had Atlanta United winning 1-0, even when they were down to 10 men.
Yeah, that was a big game. I caught a lot of the Portland Timbers game. What's his name? Diego Valeri. He's a real engine for that team. But yeah, I'm glad to finally have football in America back, whether it be MLS or just the CONCACAF championships. But speaking of football, Andrew, you have a little football news going on in your own life, right?
I do. I'm getting ready to leave for Spain myself here.
Yeah? Or what are you going to do in Spain?
Well, I got invited to go on trial with a couple club teams over there. So an agency is going to fly me out there, and I'm going to get to spend 2 weeks of doing what I love, playing soccer.
Well, you heard it here first, guys. So you're joined with two professional, knowledgeable individuals, and me and Will, and one potential future pro football player in Andrew. So again, thanks for joining me here today, guys. This is the show where we talk about the hottest trending topics in the football world. The first topic, I don't know if you guys read this or not, but the MLS is now introducing concussion subs to the league now. Will, I was wondering, have you heard anything about this?
I did read up on it. Yeah, I think the league had good intentions in mind with allowing a team 2 additional concussion subs. But the rules kind of get a little complicated and tricky. So now a team, you have your 5 regular subs that we've seen this past year due to COVID. And now you have 2 designated concussion subs for someone who suffers a concussion or what is deemed to be a serious head injury, possibly a concussion. But where it gets real complicated and messy is the other team is now also allowed additional subs, like regular subs. If you use a concussion sub, it gets real
like a mix and match. It's like a mix and match. It's almost too complicated because they're trying to make it an unfair but equal balance for the two teams. When honestly, they had a great idea. They should have just implemented the 2 subs, and if it's already not ideal to have a concussion during a game, right? So I don't think that creates an unfair advantage for the other team. If anything, it creates an advantage because you have a player coming on that's not really in the game yet, and you have to start all over, whether it's in the 60th, the 20th, or the 90th minute. I think they're just trying to get too technical and creative in their rule making when they could have just stayed basic the first year and kind of seen how it played. We all know how VAR went over its first year of complicated, and it's better simple than it is to go full blown. Let's do it.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's my opinion.
Seems like they're adding extra complexities. We originally had just 3 subs to be subbed in at any point during the game, and now with coronavirus, the big pandemic that just happened here last year and is continuing into this year, we have 2 additional subs. So you have the opportunity to make 5 subs in 3 different opportunities, but now they're adding 2 more circumstantial subs. I mean, that seems a little bit convoluted to me. I don't know. It's especially when one team has a serious injury like a concussion, and the other one can essentially get an additional sub opportunity, or even an additional sub. Bringing on 6, possibly 7 new players. That's more than half the team at this point. I don't know. I don't know if I like this rule. Will, what Andrew sounds like he was kind of against it and it was overly complex. I'm against it because it seems like we're essentially going to see two teams play during the entire 90 minutes of a game or even into extra time if it goes into that. I don't know. Will, what do you think?
Yeah, I'm kind of with you guys. Where I think it's almost too much. I can see their thought process. Like this team that's getting the concussion subs, it's almost an unfair advantage because they've got extra fresh legs, or they can have extra fresher legs than the other team. I mean, I think this gives an unfair advantage to the deeper teams in the MLS.
Definitely.
Yeah. I mean, I can't wait to see a team that uses all 7 subs and just see how things play out. So
Yeah, I agree. I like at least the caveat that you can't use a concussion substitution for a regular substitution. So it's not like you automatically get 7 subs.
yeah.
But it does seem a little bit much. So I don't know.
The nice things. Go ahead, John. I was just going to say the idea is there. The
No,
idea is
go ahead,
there, and that's
please.
what
Please.
the best part is that the idea is there. It matters that they're at least trying to kind of implement a safety protocol that you're seeing in all major sports now. So
Sure.
I get the idea. It would have been nice to see them implement it maybe in a little bit of a different way, less of a
Sure.
trying to figure out to get rid of the advantage and more of just putting it in there and kind of seeing how it works.
Yeah, and I see the reason that America really did do this in the MLS. What with American football, CTE and concussions being so prevalent in that sport and other sports like hockey, but it really makes me think, how prevalent are concussions in the MLS, and are they trying to do this to be to really be trend makers for the rest of Europe and South America and the other leagues across the world to follow? Or is this just kind of trying to make a virtue statement about how against concussions they are? And really, I like the prioritization of player safety, but what's to say next that what if your goalkeeper gets injured? Are we just going to have one designated goalkeeper substitution? Or what if another player suffers a really serious injury like a compound fracture, God forbid? That would seem more likely to me than maybe a concussion, maybe not a more serious injury like an extreme like a compound fracture, but definitely torn ligaments or something like that. What if we had designated injury substitutions in general? It seems, the more we add caveats on, the more it muddles this truly good game. But I don't know what you guys think. Leave your answers and your thoughts in the comment section below. And while you're at it, hit that like button and hit that subscribe button for all the latest football by numbers videos that we post. So next, I wanted to move on. Will, like you said, we're all really excited for the MLS season to get started. What do you guys think? I want to hear your predictions of who you think is going to win the Eastern and Western Conference. Andrew, why don't you start us off since Will started us off last time?
What conference we want to go with first? East, West?
Let's do East.
East. Oof. My buddy Barlow plays over there at New York. It's really hard not to choose. Oh, Red Bulls all the way. Come on now. Come on now. We're no new team fans over here. Come on.
Sure.
Anyways, I think it's hard to pick them. I want to pick them, but I think my team in the East to win coming out is going to have to be Philadelphia. I love the way they played last year. I like the moves they're making. They're not a huge market team, but they definitely have a big culture there with soccer and in the Philadelphia area, and that's going to be my choice.
Yeah, and they also have that new youngster, the 17-year-old Paxton Aronson, brother of Brendan Erickson, who just went to Europe on a nice little move that'll be hopefully very beneficial for the U.S. men's national team. So that's a good take. I did not expect that one from you, Andrew. Will, what do you got? What is your Eastern Conference finalist?
Oh man, I mean, I'm really stuck between two, but I guess I'll go with the safer, more boring pick. I'm predicting Columbus Crew repeats.
Oh,
and makes
Will,
it.
come on.
I mean, they only.
That's the typical pick. The fans are here to see difference. That's why you got to pick Philadelphia. You got to have something new and fresh that nobody knows.
Yeah.
They made the
Mind-blowing.
final. They made the final.
Mind-blowing.
They didn't have their starting goalkeeper, so he's back. They added Kevin Molina from Minnesota United, who's one of the top goal scorers on the wing.
Yes.
I mean, the best team only got better. I mean, I couldn't pick against them. So.
You know what? You're right. I can't argue. Can't argue. They only got better. And the hard part is you got Orlando City over there with DK if he doesn't get sold.
Yeah. Yeah. Barnsley's really looking at
him and Mueller they're really bringing some type of energy there.
And they got the old Portuguese talent and Nani right there on the wing as well, too. The 2-footed legend over from Manchester United. So, well, Andrew, I'm gonna go against you, and I'm gonna say that the new teams can do something, and not only can they do something, they're gonna do something again. And my pick is Atlanta United, and I have one reason for that, and it is Joseph Martinez. Let me read you a couple of these stats here. I'm not going to put into account the 2020 season because that was a weird season. What with COVID,
that was a wash.
Yeah, exactly, it was a wash. It doesn't count. So Joseph Martinez, 27-year-old Venezuelan striker on Atlanta United. Atlanta United was formed in 2017. So 2018, he had 41 goal involvements in 39 games. 2.7 shots per game, 1 key pass per game, 0.4 dribbles per game. 2019, you'd think, okay, well, he can't do that well again. Wrong you are. 31 goal involvements in 32 appearances, which, still about a goal a game or a goal involvement a game. But he upped his shots per game from 2.7 to 4, which all the best strikers get the most chances. So if he's getting 4 shots a game, he's going to be involved in at least 1 goal a game. 1 key pass, same as the year before, 1 dribble. And across those years, he's averaging a 7.4 match rating across all those years. So I think Atlanta United, I know they did pretty poorly in the wash season that was last year, but they're a new team and they're going to come out swinging. I think those are 4 good picks, though. The Columbus Crew pick, the Philadelphia Union pick, or the Philadelphia pick, the Atlanta United pick, and those dark horses, Orlando City. Let's see if they can do something this year. So
I want to say Atlanta was the team that I was picking between with Columbus and.
So you both, Martinez has raised his game with that heavyweight fight with Vela. Vela's done nothing but just bring him. They both just fight up at that top for the top goal scorer of the league. Yeah. It's so exciting to watch.
Yeah, and it's exciting to see a player from Venezuela, so a country that's not typically known internationally for huge talent, fight it, duke it out in the MLS for an Arsenal and what other team was he at? Real Sociedad reject, a player who's tried and failed at the top level and come into a lesser league in the MLS and has almost dominated. And to see another player rise up and challenge him year after year, that he's not injured, of course, for that title, it's really something else. So having done the Eastern Conference, I'll start off with the Western Conference. And, I was debating against a couple of teams, the traditional picks of LA Galaxy, and then, the new up and coming pick. We already talked about Vela, Diego Rossi over at LAFC. I went with a different pick, and I think it's kind of an easier pick. I went with the Seattle Sounders. And the reason, the reason I went with Seattle is that, for the past 3 or 4 years, they've been in second place. They can never actually get to that top spot. But Raul Ruidiaz has been tearing it up for the past 2 years. So again, I went through the past couple of years, washed away 2020. That doesn't count. But this dude's been averaging 7.25 over the past couple of years. He's averaging about a goal a game. 2019 kind of dropped off. He had 20 goal involvements in 26 games, but he's got 3.7 shots a game, 1 key pass, 1.2 dribbles, and even dropped his offsides per game by 0.5 down to 0.5 per game. Now it's going to be a struggle this year because they sold Jordan Morris over to the championship. Oh, what championship side was it?
Swansea City.
Swansea City. That's right. Yeah. So he's gone. So it'll be a little difficult to have their number 2 goal scorer over there. But I still think they can do it. I think they have the depth. I think they have the quality. They obviously have the history of being high up in that Western Conference. I think this is the year that they pull it out and they get that first spot. I don't know. What do you guys think? Will, what do you think? Who's going to win the West?
I mean, I don't agree that Seattle's going to finish top of the table. I think they sneak into the playoffs, and then, I mean, anything can happen. They've got great coaching. They always seem to end up in the final. I think they'll make some moves midseason, and they'll probably find a way there. But yeah,
Absolutely.
I don't think they can finish top of the table with losing the likes of Jordan Morris and not replacing him with another big time signing.
Definitely.
Another sort of boring pick, LAFC, just because they're the darlings of the expected goals model.
They sure are.
I mean, last year they were kind of finding their groove by end of the season, and I mean, they missed Vela for a good chunk of last year. I think they would have finished much higher in the table if he hadn't sat out due to COVID. He was dealing with the birth of a child, so he wanted to be safe. You have him back. They added Corey Baird up top. Also, a guy I'm going to be watching is Cal Jennings, who they signed from the USL. I hope he can be an impact goal scorer for them. I mean, they have yet to win trophies. They've been awesome since they've joined the league. I think a trophy is coming for Bob Bradley and Carlos Vela.
Definitely. They're always. I loved watching Carlos Vela. I know we talked about him when we talked about the East, but it's hard not to talk about him. The dude is just. I mean, he finds a way to compete with the biggest names and the biggest talents in goals. I remember his beefs when Zlatan was at LA Galaxy, and he and Vela would always face off and try and run up the score every game. What was that one rivalry game that finished like 5-3 in favor of Galaxy or in favor of LAFC or something like that? I mean, there's a trophy coming in there soon, and with Diego Rossi was the darling of 2020, and he was just on fire last year. And I know we call it a wash, but if that form can continue into 2021, I don't see why they couldn't at least make the playoffs, if not win some silverware. So Andrew, what do you think? Who's your pick for the West? Who's going to win the Western Conference?
So I'm going to keep playing my little root for the underdogs over here in my corner. Now, John, I'm going to have to say Seattle did win 2016, and I'm pretty sure they won 2019. So they got some cups underneath their belt.
Yeah,
they know what it's like to win. There's a reason we find them in the finals year in and year out. You think MLS soccer in my era, you think of Seattle Sounders. Them or LA Galaxy, you don't get much more than them.
Yeah, really.
But
and Clint Dempsey was at the Seattle Sounders not too long ago too, and I'm sure he won a trophy. I don't know if it was 2015 or even earlier, but he's got some silverware there too.
He's kind of the face of Seattle, I would say, in my era. But with that being said, I'm going to have to play a little fun in here. My pick of winning the Western Conference. Dun, dun, dun.
Ooh,
Minnesota.
Oh, interesting pick. Why do you think Minnesota?
The new kids on the block. They're not a team based on an all-star. We saw this last year. They're a team that wins because they're what you define as a team. They work so well together. Everybody puts in the grind. You see players that are 100%. You see them put out everything. I mean, they lost in the Western Conference Finals, right?
Yeah, I think so. They went pretty far
last year. And was that their first or second year in the league?
Yeah, it wasn't their first. It was, second or third.
Yeah.
Second or third, right? I mean, they're building something over there that it's going to be beautiful. So I'm going to have to pick my underdogs.
Yeah.
Nobody's going to see it coming. They didn't see it last year. They're not going to see it this year. Bam.
Yeah. Minnesota's definitely a one to watch. That's for sure. They have a young guy that is rumored to be the next Alphonso Davies. Who is that? I don't remember. We'll come back to him in next episode. So be sure to stay tuned for that. But yeah, Minnesota United is a great pick. I mean, some other honorable mentions we could say is Toronto United, Sporting Kansas City, FC Dallas. You know, there's a lot of big talent and a lot of good teams coming up here. A dark horse that I wanted you guys to watch out for this year. I don't know. This is going to be a surprise to you, and it's really going to be like pulling the rug out from under your feet, because you guys are going to be like, no way this team even does anything, even makes it close to the playoffs. FC Cincinnati. FC Cincinnati is going to be a team to watch this year, and I'll tell you why. One kid in particular, Brazilian wonder kid Brenner. He's 21 years old. 21 years old, brand new signing, broke the top 10 for one of the biggest MLS transfers this year at 13 million, has a potential to be 15 million, was drawing interest from AC Milan, Arsenal, some of the biggest top teams across Europe, and he instead decides to go to the worst team in the MLS. I mean, sorry, FC Cincinnati fans, don't hate me, but you guys have been consistently just at the bottom of the league. Last year, what did they get? 12 goals in 23 games or something like that. I mean, Brenner had 14 goal involvements at Sao Paulo last year in the Brazilian league. So this guy alone has more goal involvements than FC Cincinnati.
That's the up and up.
Yeah. So if he can get
Cincinnati's
14,
coming on the map, guys. We can't hate on them too much.
yeah,
I mean, come on now. They got the Brazilian.
Yeah. So
John, I'm going to be honest. That's not who I thought you were going to pick.
Really? Who'd you think I would have picked?
I thought you were going to go homegrown KC.
Oh, KC. If they can fix their defensive issues. See, I wouldn't count them as an underdog or a surprise pick, because they did win the Eastern Conference last year. And I know last year was a wash. But you know what? They can still do big things. They've done big things in the past. I wanted to surprise you guys a little more.
That's a big surprise.
Yeah, really out of left field pick. But I think this guy Brenner, you know, I think he's going to do some things. But Will, I wanted to ask you, because there's a lot of expectation that comes with a large transfer fee. And being that this Brazilian kid, he's only played in Brazil. He played in Brazil for his whole life. I think he played for Sao Paulo and went on loan to Fluminense down there. He's one of the most expensive transfers in MLS history. What do you think? Is this too much pressure to weigh on a 21-year-old's shoulders? I mean, is this literally like being drafted to the Cleveland Browns? Sorry, Ohio. I know I'm really hitting you hard this episode, but I mean, is this like do you see this as a stepping stone? Is he going to bring FC Cincinnati from out of the depths of the MLS and make a bigger, make a big impact there and possibly a bigger career move? Or is this pressure going to be too much, and are they going to be back down at the bottom of the Eastern Conference again?
No, I think the move with Brenner, and I mean, they've made a ton of moves this offseason. I think they're out of the basement this year. I don't, maybe back end of the playoffs is my prediction. They find a way. I think it's hard to go from worst to first, but I think they could sneak into the playoffs. But I mean, we've seen big time signings from South America before in MLS, and sometimes not live up to expectations. So I'm not going to set the bar too high for Brenner in year one, at least. I think got to give him at least 2 years to adjust to the style of play, going from South America to North America.
He's going from style to more of a brute ball.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's kind of what you think. When you think South American, you think flashy, you think very skillful, lots of touches on the ball,
a lot of dribbles.
Whereas he's going to go against some big heavyweight defenders here in the US. Like, there is brute strength over here.
Yeah, let's see if that fancy footwork can help. But guys, thank you so much for joining. We really appreciate it. We are Football by Numbers. I'm John, joined again by Andrew and Will. Thank you so much. Please remember to leave a like, subscribe, leave a comment. Tell us your thoughts. Who do you think's going to win the East and the West? Is FC Cincinnati finally going to make it out of the basement? And finally, what do you think about these ridiculous new concussion substitutions? no bias added, of course. Thank you again for joining us, and we'll see you next time on Football by the Numbers.